It's a great honor and privilege for all of us to be accompanied by what we can all say, the gentleman of the moment. He also touched the hearts of those sponsors who were willing to give and to give generously. And we are so thankful that those sponsors are here with us this beautiful evening. We all have different interests, but our being here this beautiful evening is for a common interest and for a common purpose, and that is for us to come and celebrate and reward ourselves with achievements that we have achieved for this year 2015.
You know, rugby obviously is something that's not peculiar just for now, but I remember my grandparents, some of you would know, they used to live in Matamata, just in front of Yavulo. And whenever we used to come for the school holidays and spend most of our time in Singatoga, we used to go to the rugby matches. In those days, of course, you did not have the grandstand. You had the game being played only a few feet away from you when it was all ring fenced by ropes. And sometimes players would crash into you. I still remember those days. But one of the reasons, of course, that we are here this evening is to celebrate your achievement. And I think, Nadroga football team or rugby team has become quite symbolic, as your president highlighted, of a particular level of tenacity, a particular level of consistency and strength, which is not only a one-year victory, but it obviously is continued for a number of years now. And I think that is indicative of the level of commitment that you have, both from within your management team, within your coaching team, and of course, as we know, rugby is very much a community aspect to our lives. So it's obviously the people of Nadroga have obviously rallied behind the Nadroga rugby team for it to be able to achieve what it has achieved. And I think for, I always joke with the bodyguards. I just said to them before coming here, I said, look, you're going to now go to a very hallowed ground where you will witness the greatest rugby team in Fiji giving out the awards. Of course, none of them are from Nadroga. Most of them are from Tailevu or other strange places like that. But the reality is that we need to have such successful teamwork being used to demonstrate to the rest of the country as to how, when you have good teamwork, we can be extremely successful. Not just in rugby, not just in soccer or any sports, but indeed as a country. Whether you're teamwork in civil service, whether teamwork in terms of your company, whether it's teamwork in respect of your economy, if we have teamwork, we can achieve so much. And this is what we've been consistently saying. The Honourable Prime Minister, who's due back early tomorrow morning, has been consistently talking about Team Fiji. And Nadroga rugby team obviously is inspiration. I mean, he and I, of course, have our little tiffs because, he's always supporting Tailevu, and I love the idea whenever you beat Tailevu, I like rubbing it in to him and, of course, the rest of the cabinet. I'm the only guy from the West in cabinet who follows rugby very strongly, so it always makes me feel very good whenever you win. But the point is that we should be able to harness the success in rugby and that team approach in all aspects of our life. In the same way we talk about success as an individual, we talk about success in our families, in our communities, in our province, and then of course in our country. Government, the Fiji First government, of course prior to the Bainimarama government, has recognized that sports plays a very pivotal role in our lives. This is why, for example, we zero-rated duty on rugby boots and various other sporting activities, various other procurements that you have pertaining to sports. The duty is now all 0%. Because we recognize sports as being very pivotal. Next year, we are giving a huge amount of money to sports. As you know, we have now the 1 July game, which is the Crusaders versus the Chiefs, that will be played at the National Stadium. It is costing us in excess of about $2 million. But the reason why we wanted to do that was to be able to show to the rest of the world that Fiji has the potential to host such an international event. As you know, the All Blacks and Wallabies have not played here in recent times because there is this perception that Fiji does not have the caliber or the capacity to host such a game. Now, to have a Super 15s team or two teams come and play in Fiji at the National Stadium, we entice them, and one of the things, of course, that we are doing with the payment of these monies is for the television rights. So they'll be able to obviously see Fiji. We want to showcase Fiji. It, of course, on the other hand, provides opportunities for our rugby players to get exposure to these teams. Some of these teams will come out a week or two before the actual game, and they'll be around, the scouts will be around, you'll be able to get that level of exposure. And we are hoping that with this particular game, we'll be able to then host more international games. As seen in Nadroga, of course, Nadroga rugby team is very unique also, because it's the only team that when they are playing, you have so many tourists watching the game. And of course, there is a collaboration between the Shangri-Las and the outriggers, and of course your management has been able to do that. If you go and watch a game in Suva or Nadi or Lautoka, even Nadi, excuse me, I've got a cold, they don't have any such large numbers of tourists. So Nadroga has been able to do that. So we see rugby also as a conduit, as a means to get more tourism into Fiji. We see rugby as a means to, of course, provide livelihoods for our players. Some of them, as you know, have very lucrative contracts in France and various other countries. We now, of course, I know it's probably not a good place to talk about, but we're also getting the rugby league teams who will be coming out. The Melbourne Storm, excuse me, is already in the process about to sign an agreement to come and play within the next 18 months an NRL game every year. So Fiji is now being positioned as a sporting hub. As you know, from April the 5th next year, Fiji Airways will be flying to Singapore, direct flight. Next year, after the Hong Kong Sevens, Tokyo has fallen off the leg. Instead of Tokyo, it's now going to Singapore. So this flight will be there. We'll be able to take our people and our players and, of course, our supporters to be able to go to Singapore. Fiji, from April of next year, will have connections to every single continent that's around the Pacific, except South America. So we are again in a hub position. We are again able to take those kind of opportunities to be able to use rugby to be able to market Fiji. So ladies and gentlemen, I would like to, of course, thank the organizers for the invitation. It's always very good to come home. You know, sometimes you can't openly support Nadroga because you're supposed to be neutral in government. The former minister would know that you're supposed to be neutral. But of course, as you know, and has been highlighted by the president of the union, is that you know, we are always very supportive of Nadroga, and I try to get to as many games as possible. I'd like to make this offer that whichever way that I can personally support the union, the Nadroga Rugby Union, I would like to do that. I think it's a great product. There's great marketing potential in Nadroga Rugby Union. It is a unique rugby union for many of the reasons that I've highlighted, apart from the fact that you own the sand dunes, which everybody wants to chorro whenever they want to come and play the games and get fit. But the point is that it's a very unique product, and your president highlighted the support by the sponsors. Of course, many of these things cannot happen without the sponsors, and we should, I think, you know, publicly put our hands together for all the sponsors that have supported Nadroga Rugby Union. Please, let's put our hands together for them. Lawanga Park, as you know, is going through a refit, the stadium. I just recently saw some pictures on that. They've brought in the frames from China and they're putting that up, and that should be ready very soon. So that is, of course, your home base. And the idea is eventually to make it such a product that Lawanga Park will start hosting international games. And of course, it gives a lot more exposure to Nadroga and Singatoga overall. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to congratulate once again all the players who, of course, contributed to the success of the team, all the management, the coaching team, the staff, the administrators, who, of course, supported them, the sponsors, and, of course, not forgetting the spouses and the family members and the parents who may have supported you by making your meals or praying for you whilst you were very nearly lost, and they're probably praying for you at the side of the game. But I think the entire thing is a collaboration and it's teamwork, and we of course look forward to you doing very well again next year. Manakabakalew, and I wish you a very good evening. Thank you.
Yang dapat 3 je. Set. Kakak.